In the dazzling lights of Las Vegas or the never-ending clamor of Macau's casinos, tales of overnight riches abound. But seasoned gamblers know an unshakable truth. The ultimate fate of every gambler is summed up in one word: loss. It has nothing to do with luck or even skill. It's an inevitability etched into the human condition. Even those hailed as professional players, the so-called geniuses, cannot escape this ultimate paradox. To understand it all, we must start with the story of a young man named Leo, whose journey serves as a precise mirror, reflecting the complete arc of every gambler's fall from paradise to perdition. The story doesn't begin in some shadowy underground casino, but on a sunny afternoon in an ordinary suburban home. Leo was 13, a lanky kid full of dreams about baseball and heroism. A promising pitcher on the school team, he thrived on the thrill of deciding a game's outcome with a single, small baseball under the crowd's gaze. Competition ran through his veins. That day, after a sweaty game of manhunt with friends, one of them leaned in with a sly grin and said, "Come to my place. Let's play something more exciting, Texas Hold'em." Leo had only heard of poker in movies, where it was tied to cool-headed men, towering stacks of chips, and dramatic twists of fate. He asked his mom for $5, his ticket to that world, and unknowingly his first pact with the devil. The poker table was covered with cheap green felt, the plastic chips clinking with a strangely satisfying sound. Leo picked up the game quickly, realizing it wasn't just about luck but psychology, calculation, and guts. His pitcher's focus found a new outlet. He studied his opponent's tiniest movements, calculated odds, and bet decisively at the right moment. That $5 ebbed and flowed, eventually turning into 20. It wasn't much, but the rush of outsmarting others, of turning abstract probabilities into tangible reality, hit him like a drug. It was more intoxicating than striking out a batter with a perfect fastball. Around that time, a man named Chris Moneymaker blazed across the gambling world like a comet, igniting the dreams of countless ordinary kids like Leo. Moneymaker, a plain accountant, won a World Series of Poker entry through an online qualifier and went on to defeat the world's top pros in Las Vegas, pocketing millions. ESPN packaged his victory as the ultimate American dream, an everyman triumphing in a rich man's game through wit and courage. For Leo, the impact was seismic. Gambling wasn't just a frivolous pastime. It was a shortcut to glory and wealth, a path where even mortals could ascend to godhood. From that moment, the seed of gambling took root in Leo's heart, watered by Moneymaker's myth, and began to grow wildly. In high school, Leo lived a double life: baseball glove by day, poker deck by night. On the field, he was still the sunny athlete. But in friends' basements or in front of a flickering computer screen, he transformed into a calculating card sharp. He dove into poker theory, devouring strategy books and studying pro-match replays. No longer content with small-stakes games among friends, he moved to anonymous online poker platforms, a wild, unregulated frontier brimming with opportunity and danger. Like a sponge, Leo soaked up knowledge, his skills sharpening with every hand. On his 18th birthday, while others threw parties, Leo locked himself in his room to enter a massive online poker tournament with thousands of players and a jaw-dropping prize pool. For 2 days and nights, he battled opponents from across the globe, utterly focused. When the final river card dropped and the screen flashed, "Congratulations, you've won first place," he stared at the number, $50,000. The world went silent except for his pounding heartbeat. For a kid facing college and an uncertain future, that money was more than wealth. It was validation, a coronation by fate itself. It seemed to proclaim, "You're the chosen one. This is your path." That windfall funded his college life at Rutgers, where he majored in something he barely remembered. The freedom of university meant he could pour himself into his true passion: gambling. He became a campus legend, not for academics or sports, but for his seemingly endless cash and enigmatic poker player persona. Friends idolized his always-winning myth, and he reveled in the role, taking them to Atlantic City casinos, splurging on luxury suites and fine dining. The adoration and envy fed his ego. Gambling had become more than money. It was an identity, a validation of his worth. But behind the myth was a crushing pressure and a crumbling reality. He spent most of his time glued to a computer, skipping classes and reducing social life to poker games. His days and nights flipped, sleepy by day, wired by adrenaline at night. His world shrank to a screen ID and a fluctuating bankroll. Losses came too, sometimes tens of thousands in a single night, plunging him into panic and rage. He soothed himself with the poker pro's mantra, variance. Short-term losses were normal. Skill would win out in the long run. Convinced his talent surpassed all others, he saw every loss as a necessary toll on the road to victory. During this time, he met Sarah, a radiant girl oblivious to poker. She was drawn to Leo's mature, mysterious aura. In her presence, he downplayed his obsession, painting himself as a casual player making pocket money with his smarts. They dated like any normal couple, movies, dinners, and for a while, Sarah made him believe he could live a regular life. But gambling's pull was a black hole, devouring anything good that came too close. He'd sneak bets on his phone during bathroom breaks on dates or stay up all night playing while Sarah slept. Lies became the glue holding his double life together. After college, family expectations led him to become a firefighter, a job demanding courage and responsibility. Charging into burning buildings and saving lives gave him a rush akin to the poker table. His colleagues saw him as dependable, cool under pressure, unaware that gambling had hollowed out his soul. The firefighter's shift schedule left him ample free time, which he poured into poker with reckless abandon. At 23, fate flashed him another dazzling, deadly smile. New Jersey legalized online gambling, opening a world of convenience. In a legal online tournament, Leo fought his way to another six-figure win, triple his first-year firefighter salary. If his 18-year-old win was an awakening, this was the final confirmation of his gambler's identity. It obliterated his respect for work and money. Why slave for years when 2 days could yield a fortune? He began to scorn the grind of regular jobs, including his own. His life tipped completely out of balance. $5 or $10 games felt like child's play. He chased high-stakes tables with buy-ins of $500 or $1,000, craving the spotlight of real casinos. A regular at Atlantic City, he played alongside pros and high-rolling tycoons. His lifestyle soared: designer clothes, sports cars, luxury apartments, all funded by winnings, crafting the facade of a successful man. Sarah, swept up in the opulence, believed his tale of lucrative investments. But the demon of variance soon bared its fangs. High-stakes opponents were leagues above his old rivals, and a single mistake could be catastrophic. Leo suffered devastating losses, sometimes a house down payment in one night. His composure shattered. He was no longer the calculating player but a desperate gambler on tilt, the poker term for reckless play driven by emotion. He abandoned strategy, chasing losses with wild bluffs and aggressive bets. He bought a fancy notebook to log every hand, analyze mistakes, and control his emotions, but it was soon discarded. Reality's chaos couldn't be tamed by pen and paper. To plug the holes, he turned to casino games he once scorned. Poker felt too slow, too cyclical. He played blackjack, baccarat, even roulette, throwing thousands at a spin. He naively thought his math skills and technique could beat pure chance games. But casinos, with their actuarial precision, had set an inescapable trap. The house's slim edge, compounded by massive bets and time, became a merciless meat grinder, shredding wealth and hope. He'd even bet on a Hawaiian college football game at 3 a.m., knowing nothing about the teams, just desperate for something to stake his comeback on. His life became a hollow shell of lies and debt. Winnings were squandered. Losses were covered with loans. He hid it all from Sarah and his family, maxing out credit cards and taking out predatory online loans. His phone, once a gambling tool, became a tormentor, buzzing with relentless debt collector calls. He grew withdrawn, irritable, unable to confide in anyone. The successful player image was all he had. If it collapsed, he'd be nothing. Then, a heavier blow struck. His mother, the ever-supportive nurse who devoted her life to cancer patients, was diagnosed with late-stage pancreatic cancer. The cruel irony and crushing grief suffocated him. Unable to cope, he fled deeper into gambling. The only refuge, a numbing drug to drown out pain. The clink of chips silenced his inner screams. Perhaps by fate's cruel jest or the devil's final favor, in 2017, with his savings and loans gone, teetering on bankruptcy, Leo exploded in an Atlantic City poker tournament. With near-manic focus, he stormed to the final table, guaranteeing a six-figure payout and a shot at an $800,000 championship prize. On the final day, his family, including his frail, chemo-ravaged mother, and Sarah, unaware of his true state, came to cheer him on. Under the spotlight, before the cameras, Leo was again the confident poker genius, playing flawlessly as if his struggles never existed. His heart pounded with that familiar sense of control. He finished second, winning $471,000. As he embraced his tearful mother, she whispered, "Now we're secure, son." Guilt and absurdity flooded him. That money wasn't security, it was fuel for his destruction. In his mother's final days, when she needed him most, he'd use it to spiral into madness. What followed was predictable yet harrowing. Leo didn't pay debts, seek better treatment for his mother, or plan for the future. He saw the money as his chance to prove his losses were just variance. To show he was the true winner, he dove into the highest-stakes online games, battling the world's best. Like a Don Quixote charging windmills with cash, he waged a doomed crusade. Money lost meaning, reduced to cold digits flickering on a screen. He lived detached from reality. By day, he visited his mother in the hospital, forcing smiles and lies that everything would be fine. By night, he donned headphones, shutting out the world, losing tens or hundreds of thousands. Even on midnight firefighter shifts, sitting in an ambulance beside a critical patient, he'd bet on his phone, staring blankly at the screen's red and green numbers. In May 2018, his father called, voice-weary and hoarse, saying hospice nurses had arrived. Leo rushed home for his mother's final moments, holding her frail hand as she took her last breath. In her final week, he stayed by her side, but gambling had gutted his soul. He felt only numb, hollow despair. In less than a year, that $471,000 prize vanished, gambled away to nothing. Loss of family and fortune should have broken him, awakened him. But addiction warps the mind, erodes willpower. Leo didn't see himself as an addict, just unlucky, making bad calls. He believed he could quit any time. He did stop for months trying to claw his way out. But when life's pain and emptiness returned, he slid back into that familiar virtual world. The next 2 years were his darkest. He lived in a bubble of lies, hiding his renewed gambling and mounting debts from Sarah. She sensed something was wrong. His mood swings, constant distraction, phone always in hand. She pressed, but he deflected with excuses. The isolation and torment nearly consumed him. He had no one to confide in, crushed by the weight of secrets and debt. The final straw was money. By 2020, he'd exhausted every borrowing avenue. 7 personal loans, maxed out credit cards, no cash left for even a single bet. His gambling-fueled fantasy world collapsed. He realized he'd reached the end of the road. Sarah, expecting a proposal and dreaming of a future, was unaware of his hundreds of thousands in debt. Unable to pretend any longer, Leo broke down before his father, sobbing like a lost child, confessing a decade of lies and sins. His family didn't abandon him. Through his firefighter union, he found Gamblers Anonymous. That night, he entered a meeting room with 25 strangers, white-collar professionals, blue-collar workers, all sharing his haunted look. He took a 20-question test, answering yes to 18. It was a wake-up call. For the first time, he admitted, "I'm a gambling addict. I'm sick. I need help." Recovery was harder than he imagined. Quitting didn't fix his life, it exposed it. Without gambling as an escape, reality crashed down like an avalanche. Broken relationships, towering debts, squandered youth. He felt like a newborn, relearning how to handle stress, emotions, and a gambling-free, harsh world. A mentor, a recovering addict, became his lifeline through weekly calls. But recovery wasn't smooth. A week before his wedding to Sarah, financial stress and pre-wedding nerves triggered a relapse. Thinking he could win a little to ease the pressure, he lied to himself and Sarah. Predictably, he fell into the cycle of losing, chasing, and losing more. During their honeymoon, Sarah found his gambling records. Her look of heartbreak and disappointment crushed him. That relapse sent him to a new low but showed him meetings alone weren't enough. He needed stronger accountability. He joined Epic Global Solutions, a nonprofit educating the public, especially young athletes, about gambling's dangers. It was more than a side gig. It was atonement, redemption. Speaking to college teams, sharing his painful story with kids like his younger self, he saw shock and reflection in their faces. For the first time, he felt his life had meaning beyond lost money and time. Helping even one person avoid his path made the pain worthwhile. Repaying debts was grueling. His grandfather offered a no-interest loan, saving him from bankruptcy by clearing high-interest debts. Leo worked tirelessly, juggling firefighting with side gigs, funneling every cent toward repayment. Years later, Sarah gave birth to their son. Holding that tiny, fragile life, Leo felt an unshakable duty. He vowed his son would never see the selfish, addiction-twisted man he'd been. His priorities reshuffled. Family, health, integrity, once discarded, became his greatest treasures. Today, Leo is still a firefighter, husband, and father. He's still paying off debts, attending GA meetings, and advocating against gambling. His life isn't easy, harder than ever, but he feels a peace he never knew. Leo's story is a gambler's archetype, exposing a brutal truth. For a gambler, winning is the start of losing. Small wins breed the illusion of easy money. Big wins demolish your sense of value, making normal work and life unbearable. The obsession to recoup losses becomes a noose, tightening with every struggle, dragging you to ruin. Whether it's skillful poker or pure luck roulette, the outcome is the same for an addict. They're not betting money but their lives. They can't stop when winning, nor quit when losing. Casinos and betting companies exploit this human flaw. They don't need to cheat. Just use precise math, glitzy ads, and tempting bonuses to lure smart people like Leo into their traps. Why does every gambler lose? Because gambling is a battle against your own human weaknesses. The casino is always the house, profiting no matter the outcome. You might win a hand, a game, or a fortune, but as long as you linger at the table, you'll never win the war. The end game is set. The only winners are those who see through it all, those who never gamble or, having lost everything, walk away for good.